Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Talking with Shawn. I am here with my favorite cousin, Jacqueline. Absolutely incredible. Keeps going. Keeps going. I know. You have a lot of fans.
Hello, everybody. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Wow. You have,
Hi, Jacqueline.
obviously, this is my
Okay,
cousin,
so
Jacqueline.
yes, I'm Jacqueline. I am Shawn's cousin. Right now, I'm 18. I just got to college a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, finally. This is her first ever appearance on my podcast, guys. And
On any
obviously,
podcast.
on any podcast. And obviously from that reaction, wow, absolutely incredible, wasn't that? That was just amazing.
Yeah, you guys are so welcoming. I'm again, I can't say it again. I'm just so happy to be here.
So, Jacqueline, I just said you just got to college. How is the first few weeks of college?
Oh my gosh. So it's definitely been a lot of fun. That's like the best if I had one word to describe it, I'd say it's just a lot of fun. You know, you're making new friends. It's a whole new experience, so it can be a little bit scary. Um but yeah, the new classes, new friends, just doing everything without your parents for the first time. It sounds like it could be scary, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. But so if I know some of you guys actually have looked at the pretty much stats of this pod. Some of you are actually on that age group where you're at college, and I feel like sometimes college for some people it's like a very exciting thing, but also it's exciting but nerve wracking at the same time.
Yeah. I think definitely it depends on how far you're going. You know, some people like to stay in the state and closer to home, and then that can kind of make it a little bit less feeling like you're completely on your own, I guess. But I went about a 18-hour drive from home, so it definitely feels like I'm very independent, you know, kind of like I'm doing my own shopping, doing my own laundry obviously. So, yeah, it's cool.
It's it's a good feeling, right? To be like
Yeah,
doing everything.
I think that once you get to this age, it's good, you know? It's
Yeah,
about time.
yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, for some of you who know, last episode, our special guest, she is one of my friends from work, and she also just got to college. So she didn't really talk too much about her experience there. But Jacqueline, I want to ask like one certain thing about the classes. I mean, are your classes good? Like, do you enjoy them, or any of them like difficult?
So, one thing that I can say is definitely different about college, at least from my high school, I remember the schedules. It was a block schedule, and every day I would have, no, it was not a block schedule. It was just every day I would have the same classes. I would go from 9:30 and then I would take, you know, like 8 or 9 classes, and then I would leave the day at around 2:45 and go home. And that was it every day, Monday through Friday. In college you get your classes, and they're right now mine are similar to the ones that you take in high school, you know, English, math, etc. But the schedule, it'll be like you have one class for an hour at 8 in the morning, and then you can go home for 3 hours, and if you want you can go to the pool, if you want you can get food, and then you have, let's say, another class, maybe women's studies at 2 o'clock. So it's more spread out. It gives you a little bit less time physically at school, but one thing is that you do need more time to have to do homework and studying, so you should use that time to do that.
That actually sounds very cool. I mean,
I
at
think
high
yeah.
school, it's like the classes are obviously everyone knows high school classes will never ever be that spread out from each other. But
Mhm.
that seems pretty cool to have that like time in between to like you said, get your work done if like your first class has homework and you just want to get it over with. Like
Exactly.
that, yeah, that time
And
apart.
it's like, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure everybody's been in this situation where it's like, oh shoot, like I'm sitting in, you know, math class, and next period I have an English test and I did not study. Like this way you have time before your classes too, where if you need to prepare and study for something, you always have the time, so you don't really get too stressed with that.
That seems really, really cool, actually. I mean, like I know you were talking to me earlier about game day, and
Yeah.
it was football, right?
Yes, today was actually game day. I think it might be still going on right now. But yeah.
How was it? Was it great? Was it amazing?
So, okay, so basically I have not actually gone inside the stadium yet. I haven't gotten tickets yet. There's only been 2 games. The last one was last week on my birthday and then this one this week. And um even though I didn't have tickets to the game, you can still go out and like have the full experience as a fan. You can go to tailgates, you can go to different fraternities, have like different like parties beforehand. It's a lot of fun. I know that certain schools take football like more or less seriously. It's definitely really serious at Alabama, but I think that game days are definitely one of the highlights of college, at least at Alabama.
I mean, I've definitely seen a few clips of Alabama football on
Yeah.
like TikTok or whatever, and they definitely seem crazy. But I
Yeah,
mean,
wait,
that would be really fun.
have you seen this is this is this is going to be really specific if you don't know what I'm talking about. But there's like a video where it's like an old dude and he's like, "I don't give up about nothing but the tide, baby. Roll tide." And he's super old. Have you seen that video ever or no?
I don't think I have. No.
I'll send it to you. Basically, there was this old dude who went viral because he was like crazy and would just scream at these games. And then last week I was walking and I saw him and I was like, "Wait, I've seen that guy on Instagram." And then I took a picture with him and it was a good thing to see and happen for my birthday. It was very interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, for there was much today, which is my school's game day. It was our it was our season opener, and it was
Ooh,
a
that's exciting.
41-0
Oh, did you
game.
guys win? You
Yes,
won,
we
right?
won.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not going to go 0-41. That's just embarrassing.
Who'd you play?
Almost. Hold on, what was it? I think I could pull it up right now. I can. I never really pay attention to who we're actually playing because it doesn't really
Yeah, me
cross my
neither.
mind. Yeah, it
Doesn't
doesn't
really
cross my
matter.
mind there. Yeah, I mean, to me, what matters is like the fun of it, the atmosphere, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, Morris Hills, Morris Hills. It
Ah,
was.
okay. That makes sense.
It was like downpouring too. There was a bunch of rain during the
Mm,
game. So like, but like most of the seniors, they stayed after like to watch the entire thing, and everyone else they left.
mm,
I had to leave too because I wanted to go home. Um,
yeah,
but those game days are
understandable.
definitely like something that would get everyone to unite with each other. Like
Yeah, I think that's, like, definitely the goal. It's super wholesome. Everyone's just, like everyone will sing one song or do something like that.
yeah, it's very, very like no matter where you go to, like, or what school. I know some of them they're not as like you said take it much seriously, but obviously
Mhm,
in those student sections, there's just so much to go on. It's like so fun.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
right now we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back after this break with Jacqueline. Everybody.
Peace out.
Welcome back, everybody, to Talking with Shawn. I know that might have been a little bit of like a longish break, but we are back here still with Jacqueline, everybody. And she is now going to tell us a little bit of her past experience at her work. So, Jacqueline, go right ahead.
Okay, so I started working when I was 14, and my first job was actually a dishwasher. Um, it was kind of rough for a first job, I'm not gonna lie. It was a summer job and I worked like long hours. I definitely think like having a job when you're like younger or when you're, like 15, 16, even 14, I guess, helps you build a lot of like skills and also just like a resume for future jobs. For example, like then later on I did some waitressing jobs and those were also really good because then you can make like tips and you make more money. Um I don't know, yeah, I just think that, like, working in high school, like I know we just got done talking about college, but it, like, helped me prepare for college more because you learn, like, interpersonal skills, you learn how to just kinda, like, take care of, like, more like professional stuff, and also like building a schedule and managing your time. Like it just gives you a lot of good skills. And then my most previous form of finance, I guess you could say, is this year I started, it was my senior year. And this is honestly, your viewers, you guys might want to pay attention because I felt pretty good about myself, like just doing this and kind of, I'll explain. So, at the beginning of the year, I got a job as a babysitter, and I would work every day after school for about like an hour and a half, and it was Monday through Friday, and I was like, okay, like this is great. I made, like a good amount, like a decent, like maybe like 100 a week. So it was like I could save some and then spend like on food and stuff. But then like over time, I was like, dang, like I kind of want a little bit more. Like I want to be able to go maybe save up to go on like a trip or something once I get into college. And so I decided that I wanted to start kind of like marketing for myself and make a little bit of like a business, you know? So what I did is I had my mom post an advertisement for me on her Facebook for like Westfield, or oh, I should not have said where I live, but it's fine. For like the town I live, and then like the Facebook mom group. And then I got all the Facebook moms needed, babysitters. And I don't know, I think that if you have like a goal, whether it be like, like we're talking about work, obviously, so it may be financial or even academic or athletic. Any goal
Yeah.
you have, if you just like, put your mind to it and like really work, like you do see benefit in the end. And I think that, like, I don't know, we started on the topic of work. I kind of took it a little bit to the right, but I think that that's like a good way to see it too, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this summer I was working as a camp counselor
Yes, I
and
did hear
at the
about that.
YMCA. And I got a babysitting job from the camp counselor, and I actually
Mm,
babysit two amazing kids. And I feel like when you mentioned babysitting and everything, and I would start thinking like babysitting, some people kind of feel like it's like difficult, but I was like thinking like if it's difficult, it's probably due to the kids that you're babysitting. You know what I mean? Like
I've had
babysitting,
some crazy babysitting stories. Like,
really?
I did. So, here's one. I'll just share one because some of them are genuinely weird.
I think the
But
fans are gonna want to hear this one.
so this one, it wasn't that crazy, but it was just like it made me mad a little bit. I had just gotten I was driving no. Yeah, I had just gotten my license and I was driving my dad's car. And on the front of his car, he has this little part. It's like the emblem, like the brand, and it like sticks up. It's just like a little like symbol. It kind of looks like a stat or like a trophy kind of. And it sticks up from the front of the car. And this little kid I was babysitting, I told him, I said, like, you got to be careful with the car. And he was like 9, I think. I'm pretty sure he kind of understood not to break
Yeah.
something on a car. But, anyways, he walks up to the front of my car one day and he puts his hand on the little, like, car symbol thing and just breaks it straight off. And I was like, and then I look at him. And then I look at him. I'm like, I had no words. I didn't know what to say. I just look at him and he goes, "I didn't do that."
What?
"What do you mean you didn't do that? I just watched you do that." And then he was like, "Are you gonna tell my mom?" And I was like, now what do I do? Because, you're kind of conflicted. You need to tell the mom because you kind of have to. You're the babysitter. You gotta
Yeah.
tell her. But you don't want to let the kid down. So I had said like, "No, I won't tell her." And then I think I kind of pulled her aside afterwards, and I was like, like maybe don't mention that I told you, but I this did happen. And yeah. Yeah, that wasn't the
Yeah.
best.
I mean, this summer there was this one kid, and we were all lining up for swim,
Mhm.
and he kept telling about he was like, "I'm gonna pull my pants down." I was like, "No, don't do that." I was like,
Yeah,
"Do
that's
not
what the
do
kids
that."
I babysit do. They just do weird stuff. I'm like,
And then
why? Hmm.
yeah, he turned to the window where all like the adults were swimming, and he pulled them directly down and then pulled them back up, thinking like I didn't see. And I like turned around and I pulled him aside and I brought him to my boss. in her office. He was there for the rest of the day until he got picked up. And he was like, and then of course, all his friends, he was in kindergarten too. And he understands, like, when we tell him not to do something, he's going to do it. So he knows, like, we don't want him to do it, but he's going to do it. And then he came back the next day, and then he was looking at me. He sits down, right? And he was looking at me like,
Mhm.
and I
Oh,
was like,
shoot.
and then he started, like, throughout the day, he got better with me. I was like, get away from me. And he was like, no. And I was like, all right, this is how it's going to be for the next 2 months.
I feel like the thing with little kids, it's like, it's sad and like they're always sassy when you kind of have to like correct something they do, but like you got to
Yeah.
do it, you know?
Yeah,
You
100%.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, if you're gonna, like, there was this one other counselor with that was at the same, like, location I was, and in
Mhm,
the beginning she was fine, right? And she was all
mhm,
nice, and me and her both got put on call for 1 week that we were there, and then since she was taking 2 days off, they put her off for the entire week. So then I came back the last 2 days, and then
mhm,
everything was going fine, and I was the counselor for her group because she wasn't there. So
mm,
they needed somebody to fill in. And that's how I got to know
yeah,
one of the kindergartners that I now babysit. And then I
gotcha.
come back the next week, and her group, all her kindergartners were like all around me, And then she
Aw.
becomes like rude to me, and she gives me nasty looks everywhere that I go, everywhere that I
Oh,
said.
she's like jealous.
She was jealous, and every other counselor knew it too, because she would be like, all right, guys, come over to me. No one would listen to her, right? I would say, all right, guys, come sit down. Everyone would come sit down in like 5 seconds, and then she would just be like, I'll be like,
Dang.
what did I do?
I
It's like,
mean, no, yeah, I kind of get what you mean. See, I was in that situation, but I was in the girls' position. I had taken I needed to babysit like a large group of kids for the Super Bowl, and the mom was like, like you can bring a friend. So I brought my boyfriend because he's great with kids. And yeah, he was great with the kids, and the kids were all like running around with him, and I was just like, guys, don't forget about me.
it's like I was working with her. She didn't have that personality to be around the kids. Like, she was so
Yeah.
mad all the time. Like, when you're
Uh,
working with
yeah.
children, you have to have, like, if you're having a bad day, right, and you're walking in, at least fake it around the kids so they're not like
Mhm.
trying to be away from you because you're all moody all the time. Like, you can't do that.
Kids don't understand. Like, kids will just be like, "Oh, well, they don't like they're not nice. They're just mean." Like
Yeah.
they're simple, you know?
Yep. It's like that's
Yeah.
that's the one like response that goes through their head because of how young they are. Because they don't have
Yeah.
another like response to think of. Like, they just do it as it is.
Yeah. Precisely. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to think, I don't know if there were any other jobs that I've worked. I did, I mean, when I was little, like really little, I did lemonade stands and I would rack in the cash from those. Um, I don't know how, just like in the summer, like 4th of July, down the shore.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what jobs I like recommend. I know like server jobs are good because then you can like if you have good people skills, you can talk to people
Yeah.
and like, like make more money and make tips. Um, I think that summer jobs overall are just great because if you like, like you don't want to be bored all summer and you want to feel like you did something. Um, babysitting, like I said, is great. Um, yeah, I don't know. But also like it's important to focus on school, of course. Got to
Yep.
make sure you leave enough time to stick to your studies. All that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for our episode. This is episode
Okay.
12. I don't think I said that in the beginning, but this is episode 12 of Talking with Shawn, a new era with Jacqueline. Everybody, Jacqueline.
Thank you all so much for having me. I had so much fun being here today. And honestly, I wish all of you viewers a wonderful time in whether it be, school, college, work, making new friends, anything in your life. I hope that it goes greatly.
There you have it. Thank you all very much for listening. I really appreciate it. And this episode you can also find also on Spotify. Not only it will also show the video on Spotify, but you can also you can find it on YouTube as well. And the link will be in my Instagram bio. If you cannot find it, if you have not listened, if you can't find it, then that's it. That's what I. But
Yeah.
thank you all again. We'll be back next weekend for episode 13 with a brand new special guest. And that's it.
Boom. There you have it.
Boom.